Welcome back to Hey Kentucky. This will be a school year unlike any other in Kentucky because of the pandemic. School districts are trying to figure out the best way to teach students and keep them and staff healthy at the same time. Joining me now is Dr. Jason Glass. He's the incoming commissioner of the Kentucky Department of Education. Thanks so much for being with us and taking time to talk about. You picked an interesting time to take over this Department of Education.
Thank you. I'm glad to be on with you, and it's a challenging time, but for school leaders all across the country, it's also an energizing time. We've got important work to do and a lot of technical work to do to figure out how we can get school back open.
Where are we right now in Kentucky? Because we have school districts doing different things across the state, and what is your take on how the Kentucky public school system is moving toward getting back to school?
Well, I'm still working in Colorado now. I'm under contract with the district that I'm in here until the beginning of September, and we're right in the middle of doing this work ourselves, thinking about how we get school reopened. So schools all across the country, not just in Kentucky, are wrestling with this. I also really appreciate the guidance that the governor has provided and that the State Department of Education has put out. But honestly, there's a lot of gray area. I know that there's a huge pressure to get schools reopened because of academic, developmental, economic concerns, social emotional concerns, mental health concerns. So we've got all these pressures to get schools back open. And at the same time, we want to find a way to do that that protects our students, our staff, and our communities so that the school doesn't become a vector by which the virus spreads in the community. So I think all that variation from district to district, it reflects how difficult that challenge is of balancing those two things.
What have you learned through the work you're doing there in Colorado that will help you here in Kentucky?
Well, I think it's that work of trying to find that balance. So we are opening with sort of a soft start, a couple of weeks of remote learning and orientation to bring groups of students in and orient them to the procedures and processes we'll use around hand washing, symptom screening, temperature checks, mask wearing, social distancing, layers of different virus mitigation strategies. We'll start slowly on that and test those procedures out. And then we hope to get to a place where we've got some of our kids that are learning remotely or in non-traditional instruction, and some of our kids that are in person. And that will depend on parental choice and may depend also on, does the student have health needs? Is there a family member that has health needs? And also the staff need that sort of flexibility as well. We don't want to put a staff person in a classroom or working in a school where they have a comorbidity or something that puts them at a higher risk.
One of the main concerns here in Kentucky is the lower income students. That there was a survey done across the state, and the number of students that don't have access to either good internet or they don't have access at all. So in order to do that non-traditional learning, how are you going to bridge that gap so that everybody has the same access to be able to do that?
Well, I think we've got a lot of variability in communities in Kentucky, which also points to an opportunity. It's really well past time that we should have high-speed broadband access in every part of Kentucky for every family. So I think it shines a light on an inequity that's there that we needed to have been working on before. But right now we've got to figure out a way to serve kids that are in that NTI or remote instruction setting. And so that means looking at each community and asking, what capacity do you have in place? Do you have enough devices for every student? Do you have high-speed internet access that reaches all parts of the community? If the answers to that are no, then we've got to think about what can school districts do, what can communities do to provide devices, and go through sort of a series of layers of how we might provide access. That might be finding someone in the neighborhood who has it that you could work on. It might be opening up public spaces, including school buildings, where people and students can come in, socially distance, wear a mask, and get access. It might be providing low-cost options that are available in their communities. Some places it's less than $10 a month to get access. And some school districts are providing Wi-Fi hotspots or mobile hotspots to allow for internet access. Some of that depends on what's available and what will work in each community, but you have to go through this sort of tiering or triaging to find an answer that works for every kid.
Well, we wish you the best of luck on your homecoming, your return here to Kentucky as now the incoming commissioner of the Kentucky Department of Education. You have a lot of work to do in these trying times. Good luck.
Thanks so much. I'm excited to get started.
And thanks for joining us. And stay with us. There's more to come here on Hey Kentucky.